Rambling with Khealos. Welcome to Khealos' Gaming Table. I am Khealos. Normally I talk about tabletop RPGs, miniature war games, and GM tips, but this is a rambling walk since I am stuck in Orlando for the next 3 weeks due to work, the day job. For those of you who watched my Battletech video and liked it, I appreciate that. I'm going to be working on my second official video, which is going to be a little bit on world building, my thoughts and ideas on that. I've got it recorded for the third time. The first 2 times there was too much background noise, and the third time I finally took down some wind chimes and got it recorded. Just have to edit it together, throw some pictures and graphics, and maybe throw some music on there. So what am I doing in Orlando? Well, one of the downsides to being good at your job, I'm an IT professional, is you often get sent out to fix things. I'm in Orlando for our new site, and I'm the head IT person at least until we get the replacement hired locally, and then I get to fly back to Austin. It's not too bad right now. It's, in the evening, and I'm not dying of heat, so that is a plus. So far, I've seen a lot of birds, but nothing dangerous. I've got some people coming up. I don't know if I'm going to be that person and keep talking while I do that, but let me swing the camera around and you can see what kind of fun we are looking at around here. Actually, I had to go into the office today because that's part of what my job is. Helping people out, fixing things. And Wednesday night, they'll have to work overnight to work on some server equipment while everyone's out of production. So if you haven't figured it out, I am a big old geek. I've been gaming for the vast majority of my life. Like all kinds of games, although I'm more partial to role-playing games. There are some miniature games I like, Battletech being the big one right now. Used to play Warhammer 40k, played some Warhammer Fantasy. Got bored, got burned down on it. Got priced out, to be perfectly honest, because, every few years, you've got a brand new rule set, brand new codexes that you have to buy, and then they keep wanting to push new models on you, and I get that it's a business, but screw that. I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons going back to the 80s. Played every iteration. And I even did like the 4th edition. As a GM, 4th ed was great. There's so much you could do to customize your monsters. All the stat blocks were easy. I really liked it. And what I find comical is when I read different posts about how 5th edition could be fixed. So many of the solutions were exactly what had been presented in 4th edition, but, what are you going to do? And yes, I am one of those people that actually got a selfie stick, although technically this is my tripod. It just happens to double as a selfie stick. Managed to get it in my luggage, and it's not like it's anything too crazy, so plan to do some recording while I'm here in Orlando and see what I can get up onto the YouTubes. It is a crazy adventure so far, and a lot less scary than I was expecting. Like a lot of people, I hate the way that I sound, but despite having to listen to myself repeat lines over and over again, it really wasn't all that bad. I guess it's just a matter of getting that perspective and that confidence to speak in front of the camera, which is one of the reasons why we're doing Rambling with Khealos, because what better way to practice than just go on a massive ramble. Well, I like all kinds of games, role-playing games being the big one. Well, I do like Dungeons & Dragons. Savage Worlds is one of my favorite game systems. I really like it because it's so different in terms of the rule set and how the mechanics are. Sure, you roll, a bunch of different polyhedral dice, but just the mechanics are so much different from, the idea of the wild die, the fact that player characters and powerful NPCs are wild cards, as well as, the step system, getting raises, depending on how well you roll, which is always really nice. Sometimes it is annoying in, Dungeons & Dragons when it's, you pass or you fail. There's no shades of gray. I'm certainly curious to see if they're going to do anything with that with 1D&D 5.5, 6th edition, whatever the hell they're going to call it. We'll see. I remember playing Star Frontiers back in the day. Don't remember much about it, but I remember owning the books, Marvel superheroes. Played GURPS a handful of times. A friend ran Palladium Fantasy, which was really interesting, Dungeons & Dragons, but in my opinion worse. I didn't like the system, but I played because the GM at the time was really good, and a good GM can help overcome any system as far as I'm concerned. I was never a big fan of the Vampire the Masquerade and all of that. I didn't like the system, or the system wasn't bad, I didn't like the setting, Not a big fan of the whole emo vampires, although, granted, my experience isn't that great, but, it is what it is. Switch hands. And Shadowrun's a big game that I liked, although I haven't played since 3rd edition, and I know that I think they're up to 6th edition. FASA had a fantastic development team, able to create lots of interesting alternate universes, Shadowrun being one of my favorite ones. I just liked the whole idea of magic and technology, the whole cyberpunk aspect merging together. I know Gibson hated it, but I'm not Gibson and I'm not trying to cash in on it, so whatever. I played the hell out of the Weston Games Star Wars system. Actually ran a campaign of that for many years. Loved the system. A lot of what became known as the expanded universe started with that. Timothy Zahn was handed a bunch of Star Wars source books when he was writing Heir to the Empire, that whole trilogy, and a lot of what I read in there I'd already seen in a bunch of different source books. The game could get a little bit unwieldy, especially when you're rolling 30, 40 d6s, but alright, not that many, but when you're rolling a ton of d6s, especially if you spend a force point, but it's still a lot of fun. It was very cinematic and definitely had a flair for Star Wars, a feel for Star Wars. I do like the new Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars system as well. It's a lot of fun. I like the dice, and I like the fact that it's also very cinematic. The whole you succeed but, or you fail but, something, fun going on. Sometimes it's a little pain in the butt to interpret the results, but, that's what a GM is supposed to do, arbiter of the rules and all of that. And for the record, I'm going to be walking about 2 miles, 1 mile to the end of this trail, and then I got to turn around and go back. Don't know if I'll record for the whole time, but we'll see. Again, this is an experiment, and we're going to see how it is. Do I like it? How winded I'm going to be. I've got more people coming. I'm not sure if they're walking towards me or if I'm gaining on them. So what made me decide to make a YouTube channel? I don't know, a little bit of vanity, I think. Like most people, I like to think I've got opinions and interesting ideas and want to share them. I don't know about a lot of people, but I have a lot of internal monologues that, I discuss things with myself, and I realized in a lot of ways I was kind of thinking like a YouTube channel in my head. And sorry if I keep switching this around, but so do I expect to be big and famous, make lots of money? No. But if I have some fun, meet some new people, have some experiences, that's what it's all about. I know that people crap on Florida a lot, some of it for actual good reasons. One of my favorite things about Florida, and this will be the third time this year that I've flown out here, and the first time that I'm not dying of, absolute heat. Everything's green. I mean, sure, think about it, it's on the Gulf Coast. There's, rains almost every day, it feels like. But, Texas, where I'm from, it's green in the spring, and then the summer hits, and everything turns brown. There's a lot of green belts here, and the one that I'm currently hiking down is actually right behind my hotel. So, this is great. I can get up in the mornings, go for a hike. 1 mile up, 1 mile back, 2 miles. I get some steps in, and we're all good. I just hope my phone doesn't die because, like a dumbass, I forgot to charge it while at the office today. Kept my laptop charged, but forgot to plug my phone in. Then again, I don't talk on my phone a whole lot. Mostly it's getting into different tools or multi-factor authentication, all that security stuff. But still, I plan to do this. I don't know about the recording. It depends upon if anyone actually cares about my rambling. It'll probably be about gaming. I'll talk about some sci-fi stuff because I'm a big old sci-fi nerd, fantasy nerd, fantasy geek, whatever you want to call it. We'll see. If people can relate to it, if I get a lot of comments, people are engaged. I don't know how the cell service is out here, otherwise I might actually live stream, but watch Khealos get eaten by an alligator. Although I've only seen one since I've come out here, so I'm not too concerned about it. And it was far away. It wasn't like it was on the trail or anything. Coming up towards the end. Lots of trees, lots of greenery. It's pretty cool to think you're in the middle of a city of however many million people that Orlando is, multiple millions. There's this nice little green space. Out in the middle, the traffic, you can barely hear it. And occasionally a plane fly over, but it is what it is. It's the downside to living in a big city. The city noises. We've talked about possibly moving to someplace smaller to get away from all the noise. The problem is all the conveniences that, I really like. High-speed internet, lots of choices for shopping. Gaming stores, people to game with. Since I've taken up Battletech over the last, almost 2 years now, I have gamed more from like March of 22 onward than I have in probably the last 5 or 6 years. Granted, there was that little pandemic going on, but I consistently play Battletech once a week with sometimes the same people, but often a bunch of new people, which is very cool. The Discord server that I'm on for Battletech in Texas, there's a lot of different regions or areas in Texas that people report from, and the Austin group is freaking huge. And it's great to meet people who like to play. I love seeing new paint jobs. I love playing. I've actually started branching out of my comfort zone, out of Clan Invasion. I actually played some Civil War. Don't know if I'll go past that, because after looking at a bunch of the tech, post-Civil War, going into the Word of Blake kerfuffle, as Tech Frog says. Tech Frog. Apologize, forget your name. Mech Frog. Mechanical Frog. The Word of Blake kerfuffle, as he likes to put it. I do like the fact that Battletech's history, its lore, however you want to put it, is evolving, it's changing. It's not just the same wars all over again. I know there were people that were like, what if the home clans decided to come back and invade? And it's like, yeah, they did that in 3050 and it didn't go so well. We've already had one clan invasion. I really don't think we need another one. Yeah, I have to agree with, just about everyone that has that opinion. Yeah, and while I do like the idea of, Clan Wolverine possibly coming back, it's a good story, it's a good idea, I just don't see it happening. I'd prefer Battletech to actually look forward than drawing too much from its past. But, that's just me. I am in no way, shape, or form associated with Khealos Game Labs. I'm just some poor schmuck on the internet providing his opinion, like every other poor schmuck on the internet. Alright, we're almost to the end of this run. Then I get to turn around and I get to walk back. I'm actually making pretty good time, because according to the counter here, I've been walking for about 17 minutes. And a mile and 17 minutes. I don't know how good that is walking wise, but I do enjoy walking. So let's see other games that I like. I got into Drop Zone Commander because I really enjoyed the models. I like the fluff. The thing I really love is the alternate activations, because Games Workshop makes some absolutely gorgeous models. They are beautiful to look at. I remember having a bunch of fun painting mine up, but that whole I go, you go is just so dated. And if you've ever played a Games Workshop game, at some point you got face rolled because you put something out of place, or your opponent had something really good, and on that first turn when you lose initiative and your entire front line gets wiped out, or your command, or whatever your heavy hitters are, it's hard to come back from that. That's why I like Battletech and other games like that, because winning initiative actually means that you go second. Alright, turning around. It means you get to go second, which means you have a better idea of the battlefield as opposed to just rushing forward. And all shooting is considered simultaneous, so even if you have a very important mech or something bad happen, they at least get a chance to return fire and hopefully, even the score. Saturday, I did get to get a game in before I had to fly out on Sunday, and had a three-way battle between me and a couple of friends, and that was a lot of fun. We did play Clan Invasion, 6,000 points, and I played my mercenary company, Tucson's Raiders. Total homebrew, had a lot of fun. I forget what Wombat's forces were. I think just whatever he picked, and then Russell, he played his Khealos. It wasn't looking good for the Khealos at first, and then, as if in pure story moment, they sprang back, and we all discovered just how fragile inner sphere mechs are with XL engines, because once you lose a side torso, that's it, man. Dishes are done. Say what you will about the clans, at least if they lose an entire side torso, they can try and limp off the field. If you're an inner sphere and you've got an XL engine, once that side torso goes, once you start taking crit hits on either your side torsos, that's it, man. You're done. There's no coming back from that. But it was fun. And my dice were my dice. I mean, there's no other way to put it. You know, creeping up behind, you know, an enemy mech, got him dead to rights, rear arc. And, you know, I need 6s to hit 2 4s. That's the way it goes, man. What are you going to do? It's starting to get dark. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I don't mind losing. Losing is, you know, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. As long as I had fun, as long as I gave as good as I got, as long as there was an awesome story being told, I don't mind so much, to be honest. Yeah, the Khealos lost 2 of their mechs. Wombat lost all 4 of his. And then it was me and Russell's Khealos. And all of a sudden, you know, I was, you know, looking like I might take it. And then, you know, I lose an arm and all of my weapons are gone. And all of a sudden, that PPC and a couple of medium lasers are no longer shooting. All I've got is like a flamer and a pulse laser. Not even a pulse laser, just a regular medium laser. So I got to get up close and personal. And since I've already taken so much damage, it's not like I'm going to go very far, you know. But, you know, that's the way it is. If you're going to lose in Battletech, the best thing that you can do is actually learn from your mistakes, ask questions, and figure out how to not do it again. You know, Russell lost his Stinger? Wasp? Something early on. It had like an LRM-15, I want to say Artemis on it. And for some reason, he ran it right out there into the open. You know, this is a light, fragile mech. Should have kept it in cover, and he even admitted it. It's not like he was expecting it to go out and, you know, start destroying things, but, you know, once it starts taking like a large laser hit or a PPC hit and, you know, limbs start falling off, that's it, man. But, yeah, you gotta have fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, why are you even playing? Oh, what else? If you've never been to Orlando, one of the best things about Orlando, I mean, among the, not just the green spaces, is the food. There's so much good food here in Orlando, it is just crazy. The last time I came down, I wasn't 100% successful, but since, you know, I'm effectively eating on the company dime, since I'm having to fly down here and, you know, fix things, I like to eat at places that I normally wouldn't, or places that aren't chains. You know, some place that's local to Florida. There's all kinds of stuff around here. And while Austin is a big city and it has a lot of different restaurants, it doesn't have anything on Orlando in terms of, well, population as well as different types of restaurants. There's just so much good food down here. I'm going to have to keep walking and exercising. Otherwise, I'm going to gain back a bunch of the weight that I've lost recently. But that's the way it goes. In terms of games, was never a big fan of like collectible card games. That whole collectible thing just... I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of money to get that killer card or buy, you know, like a box of boxes just to try and get 1 or 2 important cards. I had when I was playing briefly Magic the Gathering back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, I had a friend that would, you know, drop a decent chunk of his paycheck on a specific card, or he would go ahead and buy a bunch of, you know, boxes. Me, I would go and buy the grab bags. You know, the store owners would go ahead and open up a bunch of boxes, get out, you know, the rare cards, and then throw, you know, the rest of the cards, all the commons, and some of the uncommons into a bag for, you know, $2-3, and that was the Khealos special. That's what I played with. The biggest problem is, since, you know, I don't know how it is now, but it felt like Magic the Gathering was a play-to-win game, to get, whatever the best cards are. I just didn't have that killer instinct, When MechWarrior Dark Age came out, I nearly got into it because, hey, Battletech is coming back. We got a bunch of new models. Yeah, I didn't mind it. Didn't mind some of it. I watched some games being played, and it wasn't too bad. But then, again, that whole collectible aspect, if you want a specific mech, you either are going to pay through the nose to get it, through the secondary markets, or you're going to be buying a ton of boxes, hoping to get that, particular mech or that particular unit. And that's, just not where it's at, People were bitching about the salvage boxes, for the Clan Invasion, people dropping tons of bills on those. The difference is if I want a Timberwolf, or I want an Atlas, or I want insert the mech that you want here. If I don't get it in a salvage box, there is a box set that I can get it in. Whether it's the Clan Invasion box, whether it's, whatever box you want, you can get the mech. It's not like it's out of print. I mean, even like the Pouncer and the Wraith. Sure, I mean, the Alpha Strike box set is $80, but, for $80, you get a ton of really good stuff from terrain. The mech selection is there, the rules, the templates, all of that stuff. It is such a good value. I have zero regrets picking up the Alpha Strike box set, and I even picked up the template set because, I like Alpha Strike so much. Something I thought about after the fact, as I am wont to do, hindsight being 20/20 and all that. The one thing I don't think I mentioned in my Battletech video is Alpha Strike. Alpha Strike is, a faster way to play Battletech. It's not as nuanced. It doesn't have all of the same mechanics. It's, for lack of a better term, Battletech light. But the thing that I really enjoy about it is you can still play some epic games, but they're going to be done a hell of a lot sooner. And I can actually field a bunch of units that I probably never would. The Shadowhawk. One of the most shit upon mechs, for good reason, because it's doesn't know what it wants to be, and it's not good at anything, whether it's long range, medium range, or even short range. But it's actually a pretty solid unit in Alpha Strike. I like the fact that I can field, a company of mechs or a binary. Might not have the same crunch as Battletech or that same feel, because, one of the things on Saturday, all right, you've got to hit the structure on my right torso. Go ahead and roll some crits. And, crit possibles. Holding my breath is, seeing, is it going to be an 8? Is it going to be a 10? I want to say it was one of Chris's mechs. Straight up lost an arm. Because critted on that arm. Russell rolled boxcars. Boom. Arm gone. But Alpha Strike, I also like the fact that you play in a regular, like a standard board with terrain. I can appreciate the fact that, the Battletech maps are fast. You can put them out. You can play really quickly. My eyes suck. Let's not mince words. Having to look down and verify that, that's a level 1 or a level 3 or what's in the line of sight between me and my opponent is a pain in my butt. And I do really enjoy, I do really enjoy rambling on. I do really enjoy being able to field a ton of mechs. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this now because according to my phone, I'm now down to 5% battery. So I'm going to kill this and then I'll go ahead and take a look at it, post it online, see what we got, see if anyone really cares about rambling with Khealos. You all have a great night.